If you weren't looking closely at Anna and her eyes in that final scene, you completely missed the real story. When she was standing there, staring off into the distance, there was a subtle shift in her posture, a slight flinch, a sudden rigidity that we haven't seen since her darkest days at the agency. It wasn't just a look of distress, it was the physical reaction of a woman who is being actively controlled. The writers want us to believe she is simply losing her grip on reality, haunted by the ghost of Peter. But watch the way her hands trembled right before the hallucination fully took over. That is not just trauma, ladies. That is a chemical reaction. A calculated move to keep her off balance. If you ask me, the truth hiding in plain sight is far more terrifying than a simple mental breakdown. We are witnessing a psychological hijacking, and the puppet master is someone we haven't even officially met yet. The game being played right now is lethal, and Anna is the ultimate pawn in a deadlocked situation full of danger. If you step back and look at the board, guys, this entire scenario is a dangerous deadlock trap for our beloved characters. Anna appears to have returned from France on her own, a solitary figure trying to piece her shattered mind back together. But if you ask me, that surface-level narrative is nothing more than a smokescreen. It looks like Anna never truly returned alone. There is a dark, suffocating presence shadowing her every move, an unseen force manipulating the very fabric of her reality. We are led to believe that the ghost of Peter is the primary threat, a manifestation of her guilt and trauma. However, this implies that her mind is breaking naturally. I highly doubt that. The psychological motive behind these specific hallucinations feels too precise, too weaponized to be a mere symptom of stress. Let us talk about the newcomer, Hudson. We know he has arrived in town, seemingly operating on the periphery of the main action. But could it be that Hudson is the missing piece of this terrifying puzzle? I suspect that Hudson secretly traveled back from France with Anna, embedding himself in the shadows of her life without anyone noticing. He is not out in the public eye because his goal is not to build a new life or establish a public identity. His ulterior motive is entirely focused on Anna. He wants total, unadulterated control over her mind, operating as a phantom puppet master who pulls the strings from the darkest corners of her home. The mechanics of this control are truly chilling. I strongly suspect that Hudson is secretly drugging Anna with a highly potent experimental hallucinogen. This would explain why her visions of Peter are becoming increasingly vivid and commanding. It looks like the drug is designed to completely erode her ability to distinguish between reality and fiction. Under the influence of this chemical agent, Anna is losing her autonomy. Every time she is alone, Hudson could be quietly stepping out of the shadows to manipulate her fragile state. She looks at Hudson, but the drug tricks her brain into seeing Peter. She hears Hudson speaking, but she registers the voice of Peter whispering those toxic, controlling commands into her ear. If we look back at the history of this remarkable woman, Anna has always been a prime target for mind games. From the relentless, obsessive torture inflicted by Caesar decades ago, to the memory-mapping nightmares that plagued her entire existence, her brain has been treated as a playground for madmen. Hudson knows this history. He knows that her psychological defenses have been battered over the years. By using a drug that specifically triggers the trauma associated with Peter, he is bypassing her conscious defenses and attacking the deepest, most vulnerable scars left on her psyche. This is not a random attack, it is a highly personalized surgical strike on her sanity. It looks like Hudson has studied her every weakness, reading the classified files and the medical reports from her time in the clinic. He knows exactly which buttons to push to make the great Anna crumble into a state of absolute submission. This level of psychological warfare does not just happen in a vacuum. It requires funding, resources, and a deeply sinister blueprint. Could it be that Hudson has a secret connection to the late Ross? We know Ross was a master of deception, running illicit operations and torturing his victims at the island estate. It is entirely possible that Hudson is picking up right where Ross left off. Perhaps Hudson was a silent partner in a psychological manipulation project that Ross never got to finish. If Hudson is indeed the heir to Ross and his twisted legacy, then Anna was never truly freed from the mental torture she endured. The location merely changed from a clinical facility in France to her own living room. As we analyze this dangerous web, we have to consider the ultimate goal of breaking a seasoned spy like Anna. The unforeseen fallout of this drugging is that Anna is being molded into a weapon. The clues hint that Anna will soon reach out to Valentin, displaying a vulnerable, fragile side that we rarely see from her. On the surface, it looks like she is finally opening her heart, seeking comfort in the arms of the man she has always loved. But if you ask me, this sudden display of weakness is not a genuine emotional breakthrough. It is a carefully orchestrated phase of Hudson and his master plan. Hudson is likely exploiting Anna in her most out-of-control state, planting a single lethal directive deep within her subconscious to kill Valentin. The tragedy here is that Anna is completely unaware of her own programming. She genuinely believes that her actions, her reaching out, and her feelings are her own. She thinks she is making independent choices, while in reality, Hudson is guiding her every single footstep. He is using her deep-rooted connection with Valentin as the perfect bait to draw the ultimate victim into his deadly trap. Valentin, for all his ruthless history, has a blind spot, and that blind spot is named Anna. We have watched him manipulate entire corporations, outsmart international crime syndicates, and play three-dimensional chess with the most dangerous criminals on the planet. But when it comes to her, his brilliant, calculating mind goes completely soft. He operates on pure emotion where she is concerned. This implies that Hudson is counting on Valentin making a fatal, emotional mistake. Hudson knows that if he sends a team of assassins after Valentin, Valentin will see them coming from a mile away and eliminate them. But if he sends a weeping, terrified Anna into the arms of Valentin, Valentin will drop every single weapon he has. The psychological motive here is brilliantly evil. Use the only person Valentin would die for as the weapon that kills him. This brings us to a critical fork in the road regarding how this psychological thriller will unfold. Let us look at Scenario A. In Scenario A, Hudson operates strictly as an agent of chaos, deeply obsessed with finishing the mind control experiments initiated by Ross. If this is the case, it looks like Hudson will continue to isolate Anna, increasing the dosage of the hallucinogens until she is completely detached from reality. He will use the image of Peter to systematically destroy every relationship Anna has left, starting with Valentin. This implies that Hudson wants to prove that even the strongest agent can be reduced to a mindless assassin. In this scenario, Valentin walks right into a slaughterhouse, completely unprepared for the fact that the woman he loves has been chemically reprogrammed to end his life. On the other hand, we have Scenario B. Could it be that Hudson has a much more personal vendetta against Valentin himself? In Scenario B, Hudson is using Anna not just as a science experiment, but as the ultimate instrument of revenge against Valentin. Perhaps Hudson blames Valentin for the downfall of Ross or the loss of a lucrative criminal empire. By forcing Anna to be the one who kills Valentin, Hudson inflicts the maximum amount of physical and emotional pain. He shatters Valentin by having his true love deliver the fatal blow, and he destroys Anna by ensuring she will eventually wake up from the drug-induced haze to realize she murdered her soulmate. This scenario suggests a level of sadistic cruelty that makes Hudson one of the most dangerous villains we have ever seen. Regardless of which scenario plays out, the danger for Valentin is astronomical. Valentin knows Anna better than almost anyone else on this earth. He has seen her through her highest triumphs and her lowest moments of despair. Because of this profound connection, it looks like Valentin will quickly realize that something is terribly wrong with her. He will notice the dilated pupils, the erratic breathing, and the sudden shifts in her emotional state. He will recognize that she is suffering from severe hallucinations and that she is under the influence of something far more dangerous than simple grief. Valentin will undoubtedly try to save her. He will attempt to break through the chemical fog, using his voice and his love to ground her in reality. But this is exactly where the shattered trust comes into play. The drug has likely rewired her perception so severely that any attempt Valentin makes to comfort her will be twisted by her mind into a threat. When he reaches out to hold her, she might see Peter lunging at her. The very man trying to rescue her becomes the monster she believes she must destroy. I fear that Valentin and his realization will come far too late. Picture the scene. Valentin, his heart breaking for the woman he loves, finally lowers his guard. He steps in close, speaking softly, trying to reassure her that she is safe. He drops his defenses because he cannot bear to treat Anna as an enemy. And in that exact, vulnerable millisecond, the programming takes over. Hudson, hiding safely in the shadows, could trigger the final command through a specific word, a sound, or simply by letting the drug reach its peak concentration. In a trance-like state, completely divorced from her own willpower, Anna will strike. She will attack Valentine with the lethal precision of the highly trained operative she is, all while having absolutely no idea what she is actually doing. The sheer horror of the situation is that Valentine will likely refuse to fight back with lethal force, prioritizing her survival over his own. He will take the hit, falling at the hands of the woman he has sworn to protect. And while Valentine collapses, bleeding and betrayed by a mind that is not the true mind of Anna, a figure will silently emerge from the darkened corners of the room. Hudson. He does not need to lift a finger or engage in combat. He simply gets to stand there and watch his masterpiece unfold. A wicked, satisfied smile will spread across his face as he witnesses the destruction of two legendary figures. This silent victory will signal that Anna and her nightmare is not ending, it is only just beginning its most devastating chapter. Ultimately, whether Valentine survives this brutal betrayal or Anna manages to break free from the chemical chains binding her mind remains to be seen. I cannot say for certain if Hudson will succeed in his twisted game of psychological warfare. But if you ask me, the writers are setting us up for a heartbreak of epic proportions. The board is set, the pawn is poisoned, and the trap is ready to spring. We can only watch and wonder who will be left standing when the hallucinogenic smoke finally clears.